Hello, what's going on YouTube? This is J-Money here, and I'm bringing you guys a my top 32 deck profile from the regional in San Antonio. I did a little bit better than I thought I was going to do, and that is because I kind of avoided the Draco matchup all the way until the last 3 rounds. I'll go ahead and get into the matchups I faced and the losses and all that stuff in a second, but we'll go ahead and get started with the profile because, not much has really changed all that much. So we got the Venuses and the Shine Balls. They're the bread and butter of the deck. You really don't play the deck without them, really. And so we're gonna go and have 3 Legacies and 3 Lees because, again, if you're not playing 3 of both of these, then something's wrong. We're gonna also go with 3 Chosen. Yeah, it's faithful. I'm still debating on just cutting it down to 2 and 1 back end, but because you still got to run over Abyss Weller somehow. But I guess I've just been too lazy to take him out. But nonetheless, I still topped the event anyway. But 2 Puppies. I haven't really seen this too much opening hands, or in a lot of my opening hands, which is kind of weird because I generally will always see them, but I haven't really resolved this hand trap effect either, the entire regional, which is also weird because generally, like, once or twice a turn, I'll resolve it and I'll generally win. But 2 Exodius, it's Exodius. What can I say? I mean, it gets you there. It gets you there, especially for the grind game. Gamma Seal, Radiant, and a Thunder King. Now, I have not resolved this effect at all the tournament, but there are cases where you can really go for OTKs with the Raiden and go for the token. Now, I resolved this about 3 or 4 times during the regionals, and every time I resolved it, I won because, I mean, it's a D barrier on legs. It literally just, when it resolves, your opponent can't activate anything for the rest of the turn. It can swing 3 times at monsters. Christia, every time I dropped this on the board, I won the game. Plain and simple, unless it was Dracos, then it immediately got sided out. Lazuli, it's Lazuli. Lazuli is faithful, and the +1 really matters. I never, like, the few times I opened Lazuli, I just put it back in with Skull Dread, so no need for Garnet there. Under the spells, 3 Brilliant Fusion because, and it's the best spell, and 2 Transmodifies because you want to get to Venus, but you don't want to see it too much. Like, you'll likely open Venus or open like a Brilliant Fusion and being able to make Orm to revive it, so you don't need too many Transmodifies. You just need Transmodifies in multiple numbers to either save the Brilliant Fusion from the Ash or to let's see, or to get to the Jinzo. So 2 Waterfronts because Waterfront is just Waterfront, and searching kaijus and getting counters for effects that are rarely used are pretty amazing. So 2 Forbidden Chalice. This card is really have gotten me out of a lot of binds, especially when it comes to those pesky Abyss Dwellers, because who wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh without being able to use your graveyard? Absolutely nobody. Emergency Teleport, Soul Charge, Monster Reborn, Unexpected Die, Foolish Burial, and World Legacy's Heart. They're all the one-ofs that I got. They're all faithful. Unexpected Die, I keep debating on 1 to 2 copies, but I don't want to see doubles in opening hand, or I don't want to see 1 and then draw into another. I mean, it could easily be another card I could use. Now, I did change up my main deck a little bit because of the Draco matchup. I was thinking about main decking Twin Twisters, but then I figured that there are more Twin Twisters isn't as useful against most matchups because a lot of matchups aren't playing back row. If any, they're setting like 1. So Twin Twisters seem kind of useless, so I decided to main double evenly matched instead. And every time I saw this card opening hand, it was always against Dracos, and I lost a die roll every time. Every time I lost a die roll against Dracos, I opened this and evenly matched them. I would win game 1, but sadly, game 2 and game 3 were just, yeah. I mean, it's Dracos. I mean, what else can you say about the damn deck? And Phantom Knight's a shape Brigandine. Now, it does conflict a little bit with evenly matched because, in order to flip this over on the same turn it will set, you can't play any trap cards. You can't have any trap cards in the graveyard. And the problem with that is, you know, if you want to evenly match, you know, that is likely the first card you play. But generally, if I'm siding in the third evenly, I'm siding that out anyway. So, you know, it's not too bad. We got one Seraphinite because it's Seraphinite. Like, what are you playing if you're not playing Seraphinite? Link 1s, we got 3 Imducks, a Link Spider, and a Link Rebo. Link Rebo has just gotten me there all day today, or all day on Saturday. Link Rebo has really came through for me. I mean, the fact that it just equals 2 monsters is just, it's ridiculous. And I'm honestly, like, really torn on what I should be taking out when the Troy Mirrors hit, because there's a really strong possibility I might have to take it out, and place may not be the same, especially if you don't have much, and the Link Rebo a lot of the times can just get you to a Skull Dread for 4. For that, simply for the fact that you sack off Guard Dragon by itself and you replace it, and Guard Dragon equals another monster. Link 2s, we got the Binary Sorceress. We don't need Proxy Dragon anymore because, you know, we don't have any more token spawners anymore. Gofu and Dandelion are gone. Next we got 2 Ibs, Underclock Taker. You know what? I don't think our resolve is affected all during regionals, which is weird because generally during locals I always resolve this at least 4 times, and every time I resolve this I win. I would still keep it in though because it just wins games. Like, yeah, just simple as that, it wins games. Because when you drop something to 0 and then link it off into a Tri-Gate, you know, it's probably going to be next to a Culling with a Firewall or a Skull Deed, so you're doing 56 damage in one shot. And doing 24 more damage is nothing in the deck, and that's assuming that your opponent didn't play like Cosmic or something, or Soul Charge or what. Link 3s, we got Ningirsu, and we got Tri-Gate Wizard because, I mean, it's essential. You want to draw 3 off Ningirsu, you want to send cards, easy. Link 4s, we got Firewall, and we got a Skull Deep because they're too essential. It's a Link based deck at its core, so if you're playing a Link based deck and you're not playing those, something's wrong. For side deck, we got spells. We had 2 Twin Twisters. Now I took the My Body as a Shield out of the main board and put them in the sideboard in exchange for the evenly matched. Now generally when I side for going first, or if I'm not playing against Dracos, these get sided in every single time, and it works. It really comes in for me, and all that good stuff. We got 3 Mind Controls. Also, great cards for going second. One of my matchups, I actually drew into double opening hand and played out the combo and drew into the third one, which was really insane. But you know, I mean that's what World Chalice does when you just dig through the deck so hard. Now for traps, we got 2 anti-spells, 2 Master Restricts. These only get sided in against Dracos and Pendulum decks, and with Pendulum decks, they play Sphere Mode very effectively, and I don't take any chances when it comes to making a board, especially against Pendulums, since I know they can play Sphere Mode. I don't put too much past them that they won't, and so I'll side these in every time against Pendulums. There were like at Utah, I did flip that over against the Pendulum FDK guy, and he lost because he actually had the Sphere Mode, but, you know, that's just a judgment call on my part. And now for the 1-0s, we got 1 Judgment, Warning, the 3rd Evenly Matched, and Jinzo, because it's Jinzo, it gets you there. Now, San Antonio was 9 rounds of Swiss, And so round one, I played against Inspector Border dot deck. It was very, very easy. A lot of people would think that this deck loses to heavy trap-based decks. But the thing is, I can play through about 3 back row turn 1. And granted, yes, my turn will be over. But, you know, the deck is really good at just resourcing out of the graveyard. And so the next turn, I start using effects from the graveyard and using up the rest of the back row, and now they have nothing left. In game 2, I decided to third evenly in like 2 Twin Twisters, and I won. Because I opened double Twin Twisters on him after he went first. And I just flat out beat him from there. Round 2, the Inspector Border deck was 2-0, by the way. Round 2 was Trickstar's 2-0. Round 3 was ABC's. That's the one where I drew double Mind Control opening hand and drew into the third one off of either Skull Dread or Ningirsu. I forget which one, but I ended up getting the third one. I OTK'd him. That was also 2-0. Round 4 was... I'm trying to think. Round 4 was... oh, yeah, it was Zephyrs. It was a very, very, very tough match. I 2-1'd it, though. We were in time. I made my board. Somehow he didn't have a hand trap. He didn't have Gammas, no Ogres, no Ashes, no nothing. And yeah, it was just a good game from there. In round 5, it was my first loss. And for those of you watching, I want to apologize for because I was so flustered the other day because I just kept losing to Dracos. I did not lose to every single one of my Draco matchups. My one matchup that wasn't Dracos that I lost to was a Dinosaur player, and he was my round 5 opponent. We took it to game 3, and he went first, and he makes he does his Giant Rex combo, and I'm thinking he's gonna make like Logi or Dolka or something, but no, he makes a Dweller, which really wasn't too much of a surprise to me, because you know, Abyss Dweller shutting down all the World Chalice extra deck monsters from summoning from hand it's a big deal, and he has double evolution pill. He plays that, and I'm looking at my hand, and I have a Kaiju Field Spell, a Mind Control, a Forbidden Chalice, and a Shine Ball, and a Legacy Cup. And, you know, as he's playing his double evolution pill, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to summon Ultimate Conductor, because if he does, if he summons Conductor, I win the game. But, you know, he was contemplating on it. He was really close to doing it, but instead he makes his Overtex. And that kind of really shut some things down, because I can't just, now when he goes to Shotgun Dweller, I can't just change Chalice from hand and just turn it off and win the game. You know, because I would have just mind controlled his Conductor, forcing its effect, and I would have been free to play, because he emptied his hand. He banished Ash from his hand, and all that, just put a monster on board. And so, so I draw for a turn, and he goes Dweller, and detaches, and I have to let it go because I'm not going to, you know, let my Chalice get auto-negated by a Vortex, so, and I didn't want my Kaiju Field Spell to get negated either, so I just played the Mind Control, he instant negated, you know, it was fine, and he searches his Evolution Pill, and so I ended up playing the Shine Ball and going into Imduck, sacking for the Legacy Cup, and I set the Forbidden Chalice and passed. Now at this point, I'm just like, okay, whatever he draws, he won't be able to kill me. So he goes, he Shotgun Dwellers again, and this time I flip over Chalice to shut it down, because I need the extra monsters, and I need the double searches. And so he plays his Evolution Pill as I expected. He banishes the Giant Rex as I expected. He plays Conductor. You know, he summons Giant Rex, and he goes in the battle phase, and, you know, it was all going according to plan, and he goes and hits my cup for 35. You know, which, you know, that's a lot of damage, but I needed the advantage, and so I put up Lee in a Guard Dragon and searched another Legacy Cup because I plan to banish the cup to grab Heart to get 2 more monsters and just outright win the game from there. But you know, he hits my 2 defense monsters, which I knew he would do, and so that totaled up to like 55 damage. And he hits me with the Dweller, so I'm just like, okay, that works, because I'm just like, you know, this is all according to plan because I knew he couldn't kill me, but then he plays Forbidden Chalice from his hand and turns off the Giant Rex and was able to actually swing directly with it, and that kind of just, you know, that's something I didn't account for because he was top decking. You know, I had him down to 0 cards, and he rips that 1 card, and he actually uses it to turn off his own Giant Rex to eliminate all the drawbacks of not being able to swing directly, and he kills me with it. And so, yeah, that was a very humiliating loss on my end because I generally do not lose to dinosaurs. The only deck I really lose to is Dracos. And so, yeah, there's that. And, so round 6 was against 60 card. We did game 3. I beat him there. Round 7 was against my first true Draco. You know, now round 7, 8, and 9 were just all true Dracos. Just 3 Draco decks in a row. You know, that's just my luck. That same thing happened at Utah. Going against that same deck and just constantly having just such, like, the biggest uphill battle with that deck. But, he wins the die roll, he goes first, and he sets up his board, and I evenly matched him, and I win the game. Now, game 2 and game 3 is where it goes downhill, and game 3 is just a prime example of why I dislike the deck, because I had him down to 0 cards in hand, and, you know, he was out of shots for his Masterpiece, and so, of course, the 1 card he top decks into a Demise, and he gets into a Duality, and he gets a Diagram, and he gets a Terraforming into another Diagram, and then he Heritages for 2, and it's just, okay, sure, why not? I mean, you can have a Draco player down to 0 cards, and because they have 20 draw cards, I mean, they can just easily just go from 0 to, like, 10 cards for no reason at all. And that is just exactly why I just can't stand true Dracos, because of all the draw cards they have at their disposal. It doesn't matter how much you drop them down, they're just going to keep coming back with like twice as much advantage. And whatever you do, they're just going to get a plus off of it. And the floodgates and the... It's stupid. And like, pen losers are so much more fair than Dracos. Like, literally the only thing that's unfair about the Pendulums is the damn FTK, and we all know that Banless is going to address that shit. But, you know, round 8 was another true Draco player. I actually 2-0'd that Draco player very easily. And, of course, round 9 was just true Dracos once again. Took it to game 3, but, of course, I sided going first cards, and I went first, and for some reason I didn't draw the combo pieces, but I drew the sides, which was weird. But anyway, I want to tell you guys something that happened there. Okay, my round 8 opponent, the guy playing Dracos that I 2-0'd, he had just gotten into the game this past Monday, you know, literally last week. And so he goes from literally getting into the game, you know, he just picks up Dracos, and he tops with it. He goes top 32. You know, he gets his invite, literally, like, he goes from getting into the game Monday to getting top 32 on Saturday with true Dracos. Like, it goes to show you just how simple and how easy it is to play that deck. And how just oppressive and how overpowered that deck really is. If you can literally get into the game and go top 32 at your first regional in less than a week. It's insane. You know, something really needs to get done about that deck. In fact, I really hope in Memphis, I hope Dracos top so much that Konami just buries that deck into the ground. So anyway, that's my profile. I got 28th because of that. That last loss, it was so close, and it just I would have got 13th if I would have beat that guy. But you know, needless to say, it didn't pan out that way. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I did. Like the fact that you have to change up your main board just for one deck, like, and it's not even, okay, if it's like the best deck or something, I understand, but it's like the second best deck, like, you know, the fact that you have to play such obscure cards in the main board that you would generally have to play in the sideboard just to beat one deck, you know, that is just, you know, because the matchup is just that damn difficult is insane. and it's uncalled for. And you know, like my main board would not be the way it is if it weren't for Draco. It'd be pretty different. So it's whatever. But you know, I'd rather deal with Lair and Darkness Infernoids than True Dracos. But let me know what you guys think. So I finally got my invite, so I will definitely end up going to Nationals on the 29th of June. So look out. This is J Money, and I am signing out.